Lean back and relax and let all your cares melt away, because you're about to enter the world of the prepared mind.
Well, hello, everyone. It is Sunday, and that means Sunday Night Live. It means it's the zoo, and we're on here live. And by zoo, I mean we've got one YouTube channel, two YouTube channels, Subscribe Star. And, of course, we have Man's X. We've got Facebook. We've got all manner of social media outreach to spread the word. We all need to be prepared for what's coming. We've been hit with it, folks. We've been hit with it for years. And back in 2020, I said, you know what? It's hit the fan. This whole lockdown nonsense, it's a bunch of crap. And it was then, and it's just gotten worse ever since then. So it's Sunday Night Live. Rather than me dictating the show, it is up to you guys. Not just to dictate the show, but to check and select topics. This is your chance for you to share your thoughts, ideas, comments, predictions with the rest of the world. And folks, by the time this video is done, there will be thousands of people who have watched it, and they'll watch it all through the week as well. So it's just me tonight, no Uman, no Jolene, just John flying solo. So I'm going to be monitoring the comments, but if you want to get on the screen, what we've got to get here is a super chats, and that's how we do it. So starting off tonight's show, $50 super chat donation from none other than Darcy T. And she's here every week, and I like to start the show off with Darcy and, of course, Chin Music as well. And Chin, he's done a super chat donation of $53.08. And, oh, by the way, your donations keep the lights on in the studio. They keep the Spam and tuna fish in the old Prepared Mind pantry, and it keeps the show going. We've got bills to pay, subscriptions to pay. We've got online, shall we say, services to pay for, like servers and data protection services. It's like, yeah, you get a server, you get information, then you have to pay extra to protect your stuff. Crazy world, folks. Anyways, all super chat donations will get your questions or comments right up here on the screen. There's a button right up there, super chat button, and that's how we do it. It is only available, the super chat button, on the Prepared Mind channel with 5,100 subscribers. If you're on the Prepared Mind channel with 79,000 subscribers, that one is not monetized, and it won't allow me, right, to do super chats there, but we can do them here. Anyways, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about, a lot going on, and I want to know what's on your minds. So, Darcy T, $50 PayPal super chat. I've got my Marine Corps shot glass right there, and I've got a bottle of Glenlivet 18 this week. So, ooh, that pours fast too. Oh, it's like mother's milk. Here's to you, Darcy T, and everyone else. And Chin Music, you're next, man. Get me your comments. You know how to do it. Ooh. You know, the difference between a 12 and a 15 and then an 18, it's you can taste the quality difference. Anyways, I'm getting tuned up here. Let's talk about what's going on out there. Darcy T says a 66-year-old senior pastor in the United Kingdom, that's England, from the Oasis City Church in Watford, England, was arrested. Why? For inciting religious hatred while street preaching in London. Yes, says Darcy, the message of hope, love, mercy, and reconciliation to a fallen world is now hate speech in the United Kingdom. To top that off, while you were cuffing him, he said, "You repent and believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and you'll be saved. I have not assaulted anyone. Take these off now. Take these off in the name of Jesus. To which one of the female arresting officers mockingly responded, in the name of Jesus, get in the car. We're coming to that place, folks. We're coming to that place in history. We're coming to that place. I've been talking about this with a lot of people, preppers, not preppers, who said it's like a big pendulum. You know, a nice balanced country in the middle, but we've swung way over to left-wing lunacy, and we're going to start swinging all the way back. And when we swing back, we're going to go way past just being nice to fixing problems. But what do we have? We have an old man, a street preacher. And what is he doing? He's trying to share his vision of kindness and forgiveness and reconciliation for you, right? And what do we have? They have a law. Now, the law in England is this. If you make someone have feelings of anxiety, you have committed a crime, because they are such a chicken shit panty waste. Chicken shit panty waste, coward, right? I can't do enough dirty words, so I'm going to stop right there. Right? You feel offended by someone sharing a religious perspective. Now, there are Muslims in England who go out there and start that chest beating shit and screaming and yelling, or throwing their prayer mat down in the middle of the fucking street, stopping traffic, screaming Aloha Akbar while fucking waving swords and knives in people's faces. But that doesn't cause anxiety. Are you fucking kidding me? England was supposed to be, and always has been, well, for the last 2,000 years, a Christian nation. Well, I guess since King Charles is converted to Islam, you can forget it. Now, folks, we have religions that are full of hatred and religions that are full of forgiveness. Christianity is one that says, hey, forgive others, do unto others as you have them do unto you. The other two major religions that are in Europe and the United Kingdom and North America are Zionist, Talmudic Judaism, and you shouldn't be afraid to say the words, and Islam. Both the Quran and the Talmud teach their people it's okay to lie to Christians, to victimize Christians, to harm Christians, and to rape and insult and disparage and demoralize Christian women and men. I mean, they'll rape anybody. Anyways, this is what we've got going on. This is our world right now. The pendulum is all the way at one side, with these other anti-Christian religions pushing their shit. And the English people, this weekend, there were hundreds of thousands of them taking to the streets, literally filling the streets in England to show the Prime Minister and the King the people want their Christian nation back. Conversely, in Long Beach, California, this weekend, I read a report that they're supposed to have a pride parade. You know, gay pride, tranny pride, pedophilia pride, and there was no one there, literally. There were 2 tents set up, I guess people selling merchandise or I don't know, maybe foot-long hot dogs. Who knows what they were selling, but there was no one. It was a flop. It was dead. There's a difference. No one shows up. Everybody shows up. Nobody wants pedophilia. Nobody wants these LGBT fruitcakes. They didn't even show up for their own damn event. But in England, the people, the taxpayers, the citizens, the good English people showed up by the hundreds of thousands to peacefully protest, not start burning the city down, not committing crime, not looting, not murdering their enemies. Nope. Good stuff. Let's see. Let's just move forward and cover this. We've got Viking checking in. He says, hey, there was a massive rally in London yesterday. Yes, that's what I was just talking about. But they can hold off until 2029. Millions more of illegals will have entered by then. And that's the problem, is they have every single day, Viking, boats, either rubber inflatable rafts that hold up to 30 people, come across the English Channel from France, or these big clunkers, belching carbon and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, or dropping them off by the hundreds. Now, over on the French side, some people have begun going down the beach and stabbing their boats, puncturing them, slashing them, so they can't bring these people over to England. But yes, by 2029, it is going to be probably this is my prediction, a 50-50 country between native-born Brits versus foreign invading Muslims. It's going to get violently ugly, folks. I've said a long time, shit at the fan in 2020. We're going to have at least 10 years of SHTF, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. Any better. Anyways, Mr. Viking, thank you very much. Good golly. Vikings here every week supporting the channel. Your super chat donations get you on the screen here. And that supports the channel, folks. Keeps the studio going. Keeps me, I couldn't do this without you. Period. Without you guys, I would be at a second job right now. Instead, I get to be here with you talking about what's going on out there and why you need to be fully prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And the means of self-defense is becoming more and more patently obvious on a daily basis. We'll get to that as well as a topic today. It is Sunday Night Live. It is the Zoo. It is your channel, and you get to dictate what is going on. So let's do this. Let's see. What do we got here? Okay, we got that. And there it is. Thank you, Mr. Viking. We're now going to go to none other than Chin Music, who has done the $53.08. So $50 plus a $3.08 super chat donation. Once again, the bottle of 18-year Glenfiddich, the Marine Corps 250th anniversary shot glass. There we go. And that is from our friends at www.pewter.com. All right, another overpoured 18. It just comes out of this bottle like it wants me to drink it. Anyways, folks, the $50 super chats add up things very quickly, but it's a great way to make sure I get to stay here with you guys. So here we go down the hatch. Thank you, Chin Music, and we're going to get to your comments. Oh, good golly. That was a woo! That was a lot. Okay. So it is May 17th. May 17th, 2026. And Chin Music says it's May 17th and the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Israelis still have free college and healthcare. Mark Levin is still fat and getting 5,000 views, and Ben Shapiro is still short and feminine, and his business is collapsing. But America and conservatives just love Zionists. And he gives me the big LOL. I got more views on one of my golf student videos, 54,000 views, and counting than those two fools combined. The great noticing continues. All right. I tell you what, guys, this channel has taken some hits over the years. It's taken some big hits. We grew to 80,000 subscribers, and the channel was removed by YouTube because I talked medical misinformation. Information that is now confirmed by doctors and scientists who have had the censorship removed from them. The evidence of vaccine injuries, the evidence of, how many people were sick in 2020, how many people died as a consequence of the COVID treatments, and then the COVID vaccine injuries, the booster injuries, all of this stuff, right? All of it. We fought our way to stay on here. It is crazy what they have done to stop you and me and everybody from waking up. What's amazing, though, is that someone like Chin Music, who posts videos of students, golf students, and they get way more views than, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin. They're both Jewish, by the way. They're both Zionists. They're both Israelis. And they're in our media trying to convince the world that America needs to surrender its sovereignty to Israel and do everything they say, or you're an anti-Semite and you're denying God's chosen. Crazy stuff, right? It is. It's a crazy world. Those two are absolute idiots. And before they started this, what is this? Before they started their pro-Israel, fuck America routine, they were pretty popular. They were. Now, I was very popular until I started really digging in to COVID, then the vaccine that followed. But before that was Pizzagate. Oh, yeah, remember Pizzagate? When this whole pedophilia thing broke out in the open, Pizzagate. So they started wrenching down, silencing us, punishing us. And then the great noticing started. People started putting two and two together. They started looking at history. They started listening to what these Israelis were saying. Not in America, of course. 5 years ago, they were only saying shitty things about England and America and white people, right? Very quietly. But then now, these days, folks, they are exceptionally loud. These Israelis that hate America, England, Europe, Canada, Australia, they actually hate white people, and they're the ones pushing for the calling. They're pushing for the extermination of white Americans, white Europeans, white Canadians, white Australians, everyone that's white, they want dead. But you may argue, hey, wait a minute, John, aren't the Jewish people white? The answer is no, they are not. The Israelis are not white. They may have white skin. Some even have blonde hair, blue eyes. Most of them are very light-skinned because they're European Jews. And back 1,200 years ago, they migrated out of the Khazar Empire, which was in Western or Southwestern Russia, up into Europe. They're not Semites. And see, everyone's afraid to talk about this. I'm not calling for their extermination. I'm not saying we need concentration camps for Jews. I'm not a fucking Nazi. But people get upset when I talk about this stuff because it makes them uncomfortable. So you have to ask, John, it begs the question, why are people so uncomfortable if you start talking about Jews? Because we've been told that Germans and bad people killed them all, 6 million of them, and they almost went extinct. When their own records, the Jewish records, show they had an increase in population between 1940 and 1949. Their population increased. How is that possible? If they were almost exterminated and 6 million were killed. See, we have conflicting stories here, right? Are they good people or are they not good people? Well, if you look at Gaza today, it was once a thriving coastal city, Palestine, Gaza. It is now bombed flat. It looks like a nuclear bomb hit it. Hundreds of thousands of men, women, and yes, even children were murdered during this. This is the Israelis. This is the Jews of Israel, the Zionist Jews. And so you have to be able to say the words. They want to kill the channel. They want to silence us. But we are all noticing. And as we get over all of the propaganda that was shoved down our throats, I got it shoved down my throat. 1983, history class. The Holocaust was the subject. And they showed us how there's piles of shoes and piles of glasses, all kinds of stuff everywhere. Right? Oh, the gold teeth that were taken out of their heads. All these Jews were killed, I was told. And so you can't make fun of the Holocaust. You can't deny the Holocaust. You can't question the Holocaust, even though Jews themselves, real Jews, folks, say it's all a big lie. They're like, yep, it is a lie. A big fat lie. The Diary of Anne Frank, lie. The Holocaust, lie. The death numbers, a lie. The noticing has continued. People are waking up. And as you think about it, as you consider all the information, you're going to wake up and you're going to have a sense of liberation. But if you're in England and you upset someone or give them anxiety, they'll arrest you. Well, thank God America has the First Amendment, and I'm going to continue to use it to help people wake the hell up. Thank you, Chin Music, for the great donation. And now we've got whoop, whoop, whoop. We've got Nancy Kegg with a $50 super chat, which means another 18-year Glenfiddich right here in the old Prepared Mind shot glass. Oh, boy. 250th year Marine Corps anniversary by www.pewter.com. They made the shot glass. They made my whiskey flasks and another Scotch whiskey. Nancy, thank you very much. Salut, Prost, Semper Fi. Wow. 3 of those in 20 minutes. Hang on, folks. I'm tuned up now. So Nancy writes, a special gift tonight from myself and little new Ledger Axle to the TPM family. Semper Fi, John. Wow, we got a new one, huh? Ledger Axle to the... Anyways, thank you very much, Nancy. I'm going to pick a topic here. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? There's so many topics. This is very important. Very important. The war in the Middle East, in the Persian Gulf, in the oil-producing countries, and, of course, against Iran. We've got Israel, who badgered, bullied, bullshitted, and blackmailed the President of the United States into being their bulldog and attacking Iran. So now, an Iranian drone strike, pow, into the United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi. Well, they've got a nuclear power plant there, and it's caught on fire. Now, I used to be very, very, very wary and upset with nuclear power plants because of, Chernobyl, Fukushima, and, of course, 3 Mile Island here in the United States. And there were other smaller nuclear accidents. But I've learned that Chernobyl was a one-off, the only one-of-a-kind nuclear reactor, and it was just very piss-poorly done, and that's why it blew. All other nuclear power plants around the world have safeties on them to disable them. Yes, of course, Fukushima got hit by a tidal wave, took out its backup generators, whoops, and that one blew up. And we were told the whole Pacific Ocean was going to be cooked in radiation. We were told everyone's going to get cancer, and none of those things happened. But anyways, the reactors themselves are hardened to contain a nuclear explosion inside the reactor. Remember, it's not a bomb. Nuclear reactors aren't bombs. They don't work off of the same principle as bombs. What they do is they put rods next to each other in a reactor, and they get hot. They heat up the coolant. The coolant is circulated. It goes and it evaporates into steam and spins turbines. The same way hydroelectric uses water to spin turbines, or a gas-fired or coal-fired power plant heats up water and spins turbines with the steam. So these reactor domes are incredibly hard. Anyways, the drone strike from Iran into United Arab Emirates was not targeting the reactors. It targeted other portions. So I'm not worried in the least about a radiation leak. But Iran is trying to disable their reactors by taking out the operating systems, what it takes. And so the safety programming disables the entire reactor. If one part isn't working, it automatically extracts through the rods. Everything cools down. But what's important here is Iran is playing hardball. Hardball. At any one point, they can shut down the power supply to Abu Dhabi. And the United Arab Emirates took it upon themselves to side with Israel. It's a bit odd, isn't it? An oil-producing Muslim nation sides with Israel to bomb Iran. And so now Iran is paying back the United Arab Emirates and Abu Dhabi for their attacks. Why would a Muslim country join Israel unless they too were blackmailed and compromised and owned? We just need to think about stuff, folks. And Iran has already told the UAE, as soon as the United States is gone, we'll have more time to focus on you. In other words, Iran is playing hardball, folks. They're showing the Middle East that they are not weak. They're showing the United States of America they are not weak. Our own Pentagon is putting out reports that Iran's missile capabilities to continue launching drones, missiles, giant fucking missiles, they're at 80 to 100%. But the president came out and said they're all but destroyed. But our own non-politicians are like, no, Iran is holding together. I am not rooting for Iran, folks. I am rooting for peace. Peace. And I really hope that we can get back to that world where we don't have foreigners coming to all of our countries in the West, meaning Europe, North America, Australia. When these lunatic fruitcakes from other countries when they're kept out and we get our cultures back, our traditions. All right. Folks, it is Sunday Night Live. This is your show. There's a super chat button right up there. And then also down below, we have 3 links. We've got PayPal, which Darcy T likes to use. We got Venmo, which many of you like to use, including Chin Music. And then we've got CashApp as well. I think Heidi's used CashApp. In other words, down below in the comments or the description are other ways you can get up here on the board and get your comments in line. So we're going to now hit Big Dan the Man Erickson, coming to us from the great Northwest of the United States of America, up in the state of Washington. And he writes, well, first, $5 super chat donation. Thank you, Big Dan. He says, I have 100 shares of Tesla stock, and I'm hoping SpaceX will be merged into the Tesla market, Tesla stock, when it goes public here shortly. I'm 2 years out from retirement. Number 1, congratulations on making it through life as far as you have, man. I'm now 56. When I was 30, Al Gore, Vice President Al Gore, was running for president of the United States and was telling us that Social Security was broke. Social Security was bankrupt, kaput, dead. It was going to be drained. It was going to be toast. So for the past 25 years, I thought if I make it to retirement age, there won't be any Social Security for me. It's funny, there's no Social Security. Well, the Social Security that's out there barely covers people's expenses. If you work too much, then they'll start taxing you and taking away your Social Security. But they've got all the money in the world for illegals. They come up through Mexico. They come over on planes. They get into our country on boats. They sneak in from Canada. There's all the money, welfare cards, free housing, free clothing, free medical, everything. And politicians lie about it. Like discount Obama, Hakeem Jeffries. They fucking lie about it. But no, we're giving away billions. But at the same time, the good people of Maui, the good people of North Carolina up in the mountains, the good people of Florida, all of whom, well, and then Palisades got destroyed by fires, floods, hurricanes. No money for Americans. None. And it didn't matter whether you're Polynesian, Hawaiian, or whether you're black or white. It didn't matter. Fuck Americans, is what the government, the U.S. government said. But they got plenty of money for themselves. Oh, not to mention, they are openly admitting that they insider trade. They use information they get in their secret little meetings in Congress, invest money where they know the money is going to go to. So when we talk about Dan Erickson's comment, that was a long way to circle back, but I got there. Unlike Jen Psaki, who's always said, we'll circle back to that later, and never did. I'm circling back. Investments. The whole of our nation is hurting, but Congress is investing. People in retirement just are trying to make some money, and you've got 100 shares of Tesla, and you're hoping SpaceX will be merged. I don't know what's going to go. I've tried following the SpaceX IPO and information, and it's hard to get straight answers. I think that SpaceX should be rolled into Tesla stock. That's my opinion. The reason is it's owned by Tesla. If they do a spinoff subcorporation, then people who put money into Tesla, and that Tesla money has been funding SpaceX until SpaceX makes money. So you've been funding it, but you're not going to get the benefit, the reward. So I'm hoping they do this right and they reward Tesla investors for investing in a company. Folks, I've never invested in Tesla. I am not invested in Tesla. I am not anti-Tesla. I'm not pro-Tesla. I just know what it is. But it's completely unfair for investors like Big Dan the Man and the rest of you guys who put money into ETFs and stock market. ETFs can indirectly or directly invest. So you're indirectly invested in Tesla. People can directly invest into Tesla. And now here we are. Yep. Anyways, Big Dan, hopefully they do it right. 2 years out from retirement. Let's pray that we still have Social Security and you get some of the money that you were forced to give to the government that they never put in an account that says Dan Erickson. They never did that. There's no segregated account with your money in it that was invested in even indexes, stock market indexes. Nope. There's no evidence of any goodness. So I guess all we can do is hope, right? And I think that's the word you used, hoping. Well, I hope as well, folks. I hope for our nation, our culture, our traditions, our laws. This is the United States of America, and our cousins and kin in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, and indeed all of Europe. We need to protect ourselves from a government, all of our governments, that collectively work against us. Wild, wild shit. Thank you, Big Dan, and let us move on if we shall. We've got, none other than Nikki with a $19.99 super chat. Thank you, Nikki. She says, you don't have to read this, but I'll say it finally out loud. Why is Israel not a parking lot yet? These genocidal maniacs leading our country around by the nuts should be held accountable. And extra shame on Trump. Now, Nikki's sentiments come because she's, like many of us, paying attention, noticing, waking up, seeing the coincidences. Right? It's not a coincidence. It is a pattern of behavior. So you're asking, why is Israel not a parking lot yet? I'll tell you why, and it's one word, Nikki. Are you ready? Holocaust. Holocaust is the word. This story, the fabricated story about the German Nazi regime sending 6 million Jews to their deaths in concentration camps. It is a lie. It also happened allegedly back in the 1930s to the 1940s. That's when that Holocaust was said to have happened. A Holocaust which many Jews said is bullshit. It's a lie. It was fabricated. It was done to control psychologically the people of a country, the people of all countries. And then they got into the education system. Ghislaine Maxwell, partner of Jeffrey Epstein, her dad, Maxwell, bought the school textbook publishing companies way back in the 60s. Jizzy and her sisters have been speakers in front of the United Nations. They are involved in government bureaucracy. They've been accused of being Israeli Mossad agents. Anyways, what they've done with the books and the education system through Per Maxwell is put the Holocaust into school books. And they pushed it down people's throat and made them feel guilty for something that never happened. Yes, there were concentration camps. Yes, people died. Yes, there were other peoples, other races, other ethnicities in these concentration camps other than just Juden. Right? There were lots of Romani gypsies. There were blacks. There were whites. There were Germans. There were Poles, as in Polacks or Polish people. People of all countries captured, put in concentration camps, and told to work. They were vacation camps, but folks, a lot of these concentration camps, including Auschwitz, had swimming pools. And the smokestack on the crematorium at Auschwitz was built after the war. There was no oven that cooked people into ashes to cremate them. Plus, the question's been raised. How long would it take to kill and cremate that many people? There's not enough time. There's not enough time with the facilities that have been identified by Holocaust, shall we say, propagandists. Crazy business. So why are they not a parking lot yet? Because our leaders have been compromised. Trump took $250 million from Israeli supporters, pro-Israel Zionist Talmudic Jews gave Trump $250 million to run for office. Who do you think he listens to? Not me and you. Nope. Plus, he's allowed rabbis to push their Noahide law in his rallies. Noahide law is Jews are supreme, and therefore you are their slaves. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. So Trump isn't the only one that's owned. Our Congress is owned in America by AIPAC, the America-Israeli Pedophile Action Committee. And then you've got Europe. What about them? Right? Why aren't they holding Israel accountable? Well, some nations are saying we're cutting off trade. You're not allowed to travel here. Good. The International Criminal Court has determined that Netanyahu, King Bibi of Israel, is a war criminal for what he's done to the innocent children. Tens of thousands of children have been murdered, assassinated, sniped, bombed, blown up. Well, sure, there was some Hamas in there, but yeah, a lot of innocent men and women. I don't know, over 500,000 of them. So yeah, Europe should have bombed them into a parking lot. Instead, they influence and even control our politicians. They're a ruthless, murderous people, but they're using shame on white people and people like Trump who take their money and convert to their religion. No longer America. It's Israel first. America last. Oh, don't worry. Children in Israel get free education. The families get free health care, welfare to live on. free food, whatever it takes. We'll support those Israelis. While here in America, veterans, military veterans get no help, no assistance. And if they're mentally cooked from war, PTSD, from the abuses of war, and war is an abusive environment, folks, no doubt. They don't get help. They're on the streets. They live in the bushes. They live on handout from other people and soup kitchens. Our veterans, our warriors, our people ignored, while people in Israel who have done nothing for our country, they get cared for as well and better than any American. Now, we're at 230 people live right now. Please hit the thumbs up on this video and then share. Get the internet address. This is live and it's available for everyone. Email, text, Signal, Facebook, however you communicate to friends, family, and loved ones. Let them know there's a show talking about all the topics. This show right here, the Prepared Mind Network, on YouTube and other social media. But share the internet address or share the page so that, yeah, people can wake up. People can come and go, oh, yeah, look at that. That's really what I want, is for people to be able to wake up, think for themselves, and make their own decisions. Thank you, Nikki, very much for that great donation. And now we've got Chin Music is back with $4.99 super chat donation. Pow! Thank you, Chin. And he says, no one got harmed in Fukushima, but I heard some fish started the world's first underwater disco with the extra radiation. Oh, shit. There we go. Right. Well, I have to say a couple things. I have a great deal of respect for the Japanese. We were enemies in World War II. We've been friends ever since our nations. I love Japanese people, and I respect the culture because it's one of polite reverence and dignity. It's unique in the world, I believe, Japanese culture. It's adopted a lot of Western ideas, Western fashion, Western development ideals, but it's still very Japanese. It, by the way, is also being invaded by worthless, low IQ, Muslims. Now, as far as no one was harmed in Fukushima, unfortunately, that's not true. It was a massive, massive tidal wave. It killed thousands of people. It washed water inland miles. I believe it was a nuclear weapon that was detonated on the ocean floor offshore of Fukushima, and it belched up some pretty big waves. That's just my thoughts, because at the time, I believe our government lost a couple of nukes, not just one, but a couple, or maybe a few. And I think, did they go missing from Minot base in Montana? Someone look that up. Anyways, Fukushima, the tidal wave killed people. The radiation, not so much. Horrifyingly, though, those who were harmed and dead and killed by the waves when they came in also washed out to sea, and very scary business. But as far as the disco and the extra radiation, yeah, those stories seem to have gone by the wayside. I was very concerned. I'm not going to lie to you. Back in, it was, I think, March of 2011 when Fukushima hit. I was very concerned about the ecology of the ocean, safety of the people, and we were told it was going to be an ecological disaster, the likes of which no one had ever seen. And thankfully, very little to no damage has been reported, and I think life in Fukushima is on and good and well. Thank you, Mr. Chin Music. Folks, it is your show. It is Sunday Night Live. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? You know you need to have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. So go to thepreparedmind.club. Let me see if I can put that right up here. It's really simple. And kapow, it's now in the comments. And then kapow, right there. That is the website. This is one of the things that your super chats pay for, is to keep this website running, thepreparedmind.club. It is the club. It's a small club, and if you want, you can be in it. Now, there you can sign up for premium services and information and participation in the show. Tonight, the Zoo Sunday Night Live is always free for everyone to participate in and come in and talk and hang out and share your thoughts on the screen. But the preparedmind.club also has links. We don't have a warehouse. We don't carry products. That's way too much expense. But we'll route you to get food, long-term food storage, water filtration, water for health. You need water, clean water, safe water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Oh, yeah. Communications gear, solar power, backup, all that stuff at the club. Anyways, your show, what do you guys want to talk about? Super chat button right up there in the corner of the screen. And that's how you get to be, well, right here and part of the show. Oh, good golly. But who are you? I think this is important to discuss. Who are you? Who am I? We are nothing more than biological assets who are worth keeping alive long enough so they can, well, part you out, sell you off. What I'm talking about here is right, what value do we have? Right. Let me read you this. You're worth selling after they kill you. Your parts. In Iowa, a hospital has been accused of illegal organ harvesting. This is not the first time. In fact, a member here who is a physician, a doctor, a surgeon, he is a physician way back in the early 1980s at, I believe, the University of Pittsburgh. And he was a whistleblower because they were killing people to harvest their organs to do organ transplant. It's still going on today, 40 plus years later. Illegally harvesting the organs of a veteran. Organs, skin, eyes, other tissues. The daughters are now suing this Iowa hospital for malpractice and emotional distress. I've got a topic here, and it's a good one. Anyways, that's what you're worth. That's all we're worth to these people, is what can we do for them to give them money? And then what can they do with our bodies after they kill us? Now, this just popped up on the screen, and I want to talk about this topic. Robin, thank you very much. She writes, there might be some of us on this channel that may have Jewish DNA. We should stop judging. I'm not saying I do, but many others. This is important. Let's get into this topic of Jewishness. First, is Jewishness an ethnicity, or is it a religious belief system? Well, the Talmud tells the Jews, well, you're God's chosen people. And so you're allowed to kill, fraud, steal, rape, whatever you want, because Goyim, or non-Jews, are animals. Now, not all Jews believe in this Talmudic system. I think that's critical to say. There are Jews who read the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament, which were allegedly written originally by Moses, none other than Moses himself. These are Jewish people, ethnically, and Jewish people who practice that faith, following the Torah. They don't accept Christianity, fine, whatever, do your own thing. But there are other Jews, right? And these are the ones who read the Talmud and practice these Talmudic beliefs. Now, the Talmud takes ancient thought and then they put a new spin on it, right? They believe they're superior, they're better than everyone else, that they can use everyone else, that they can lie to us, that they can commit fraud, they can blackmail, they can extort, they can do whatever they want because they're God's chosen. Even though many of them publicly announce they're atheists. They don't even believe God, in a God, in the God. Okay, it's a mess. Now, with respect to Robin's comments, some of us might have Jewish DNA. What is Jewish DNA? How can you have DNA because you practice a religion? There is no country called Jewland. So being Jewish is not a DNA, right? We have this thing called Semitic DNA, which is Middle Eastern and ancient. Those are the Shemites, the Semites, the sons of Shem, the daughters of Shem, the descendants of Shem are Semites. The Jews in Israel are prohibited by law from having their DNA tested because they don't want to show the world, even though it's already too late, it's been done. They don't want it to continue to show that they don't have Shemitic DNA. They have DNA from other parts of the world, but they call themselves Jews. They practice Talmudic Zionist Judaism, not the Torah, not the ancient Israelite beliefs, but the modern Talmudic belief system that didn't start until about, 1,500, 1,800 years ago. So there's a lot to learn here. I do not judge someone based on their name, based on their face, based on their skin color. I base what I see on what they say, what they do, and how they treat me and how they treat others. Right? So it's important to note that. You're allowed and should be allowed to talk about Jews, Khazars, Israelites, Semites, the Middle East, Arabs, Muslims, all of this. But they want to shame you into being quiet. Don't, because it's critical to being ready. So we have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, but also the prepared mind. Understand who you're dealing with. When I see someone who's black, I do not immediately assume they're a thug from the ghetto. They're going to bust a cap in someone's ass and I need to, pull my gun out and shoot them. No, that's not how I operate. But I can listen to people talk. I can observe their behavior. And if directed towards me, I can determine whether or not they represent a threat. Threat assessment. Doesn't matter the color, folks. White, brown, black, yellow, red. I don't give a shit. Jewish. If I get a sense that you're being rude, disrespectful, aggressive, violent, threatening, I know who you are. And I, like everyone else, I'm allowed to defend myself. But this notion that Jewish DNA is special, what is Jewish DNA? We all need to ask that question. Who are the Jews? Where did they come from? When did they get there? Well, they came out of Poland largely at the end of World War II, Poland and other Eastern European countries, and they went to Israel because the whole world was told to feel sorry for them because they were in concentration camps. So they went to, not Israel, Palestine. It's a country called Palestine. And the Palestinians, even though they were Christians and Muslims, they welcomed them in, said, yes, come on in. And they established this Israel state inside another country, like a parasite living off of the host. And immediately, the early Israelis, not Israelites from the Bible, but Israelis who were European Jews, whose DNA comes from, you guessed it, southwestern Russia. Southwestern Russia, the Khazars. That's where these people originated from. First thing they did was form terrorist groups. Not one, not two, but 3 terror groups. So if the Jews are not Israelites, if they are not Semites, what are they? Well, they're Edomites from southwest of Russia. But they've adopted Judaism, Talmudic Judaism, as their belief system. and they put it into practice. And they've been kicked out of 109 countries over 1,000 times over the past 1,500 years. And they hate Europeans for it. They hate white people for it because they catch on and they notice what they do. Now, does that mean every person you see that is, or you suspect is Jewish is bad? No. Right? No, it doesn't mean that. Do they hide? Do they claim to be white when it serves them? Yes. When they want to be, assholes. It's a very, very difficult situation. We've all been put in it. Now, with respect to DNA, I've had my DNA tested years ago. It demonstrated I've got a whole lot of Neanderthal DNA. It demonstrated I actually have the very rare but out there Denisovan caveman DNA. But it showed that, well, my DNA came out the same place everyone else did, the Fertile Crescent. And there you have it. I probably have more Semitic DNA than anyone claiming to be a Jew that lives in Israel. Interesting, huh? Anyways, there's a lot more to it, folks. Anyways, Robin, it's a great topic. I do not want anyone going out and harassing any Jew, whether they're Hasidic Jews or Talmudic Jews or Torah Jews or Zionist Jews. I'm not telling anyone to do that. What I'm saying is we have a political control system that's been initiated and in practice for well over 100 years. Enough that even Presidents Carter, Nixon openly spoke about the problem of these Israeli Zionist Jews trying to control our government, our Congress, our Senate, even the presidency itself. Crazy business. All right, let's continue if we shall. Thank you, Robin, very much. Yeah, folks, be smart. Be smart. Being like them is not a great idea. But wow, what a world. Just in the last couple of years, the world's woken up. The world is noticing. So Nikki's back with a $9.99 super chat donation. She writes, the bottom liner is your cult religion doesn't matter. Are you a moral human being? Period. I agree with that very much. I'm tired of people throwing their learned or conditioned beliefs around to justify shit. Yeah. Now, when you take a belief system and attach to it a claim of holiness or superiority through a supreme being and claim that you, because of your relationship, however it's drawn up, right? DNA, your religion or beliefs, your attitude. If you claim that makes you superior to others and then you act on that superiority and start killing them, that's a problem. That's a problem. And that's what we're going to have to continue to deal with. We have these ridiculous Muslims here that have been brought in. You got it. You may have guessed it. Who do you think is bringing them into Europe? Because they already hate white people. They hate Europeans. They want their revenge. The Israelis, through their non-government organizations, are pushing to invade our nations, our continents, Australia, North America, and Europe, with this third world, low IQ, violent trash, because it suits their agenda. It truly does. Thank you very much, Nikki. Now, we are done with that super chat. Thank you so much. We got a lot more to talk about. What do you want to talk about? We've got a super chat button right up there. I'm getting a little thirsty, a little parched. I've had a few shots of scotch. It's been good. But we've got a lot more to talk about. Now, speaking of Eastern Europe, Russian media is saying that the anti-corruption agencies in Ukraine may arrest the wife of Zelensky, Alina. It's possible. But Kiev, Ukraine, they're saying, no, that's not going to happen. But here's a serious question for you. Who do you believe tells the truth more often? Ukraine and Zelensky or Russia? Literally, who would you trust? Have you seen what they do to people in Ukraine? Have you seen what they do to people in Russia? Have you seen the streets of Russia or the streets of Ukraine in videos? Who do you think tells the truth? All I know is that the reports I've got is that people who live in Monaco, Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, all over Europe, right? The fancy cities, the rich cities have more millionaire and billionaire Ukrainians flooding in than any other country. Where did they get this money? It's Ukraine. It's supposed to be an agricultural country. Where'd the money come from? Oh, yeah, corruption. Sending United States and European money to Ukraine, where the bureaucrats, those in charge, like, well, Voldemort Zelensky and his wife Elena, have been skimming, stealing, embezzling the money and putting in their own accounts. It doesn't surprise me in the least, right, that Zelensky's wife is guilty. But I have to ask you, right, do you think that she's guilty of corruption? You know, like her homosexual husband and the government of Ukraine? They captured so much money, folks, euros and US dollars, suitcases packed with cash, trying to leave Ukraine when the war broke out. After the war broke out, even today, they're still stealing the money and moving it out of the country. Their cars, their bank accounts. But we're supposed to believe that Zelensky is not. Folks, he's got properties all over the planet now. He's a homosexual, belly dancing, off the streets queer, whose claim to fame is playing the piano with his dick. That's his claim to fame, folks. And he became the president of Ukraine. He's an embarrassment to humanity, not just Ukraine. But, you know, he played his part. He played his part. He played the victim. He sent his Nazi military to eastern Ukraine to abuse and ethnically cleanse the Russians there. And now, yeah, whoops. Sorry about that, right? Yeah, he's been caught. He's been caught. He's been caught. But he hasn't given up. He hasn't gone away. All right, let's move on if we shall. We got Big Dan, the man, back. Bam! He gets the hat trick tonight. $5 super chat donation. And he says $39 trillion in debt. That's the United States government's debt. But that doesn't cover, by the way, all the money they've stolen from us in other programs. More on that later. Get your super chats into the comment section. The button's right up there. Do a super chat. I'll get you on the screen, just like Big Dan, the man here. He says 39 trillion in debt divided by 350 million American people. That doesn't count the illegals because they don't have to pay back anything. Anyways, divided by 350 million people in our country means everybody owes the government $111,000. I'm getting worried about how this ends. I know how this ends. It ends in government default. Government default. Internet address at the top of the screen. Share it with everyone you know. If you want to comment, you've got to be a subscriber. So subscribe. After 5 minutes, you can comment. Super chat button's right up there. I'll get you on the screen. This is how we, fund the show. This crazy thing we call the zoo on Sunday night. Tons of questions going on, but here we are. I know how this ends. It ends in the government's inability to not just pay down the debt, but to service the interest payments alone. $39 trillion. Every dollar that was put into Social Security is not part of that 39 trillion. Every dollar that was put into government employee retirement pensions is not part of this 39 trillion. The Social Security disability insurance, SSI, is not part of this $39 trillion debt. Right? all of these, well, Medicare, all of it, Medicare, money you pay in is not part of this $39 trillion deficit. Those are all called liabilities, money the government owes back to the people. The government owes us, you, me, Dan, everybody, over $100 trillion. They owe us. They've stolen from us. All the money you pay in taxes just goes into the general fund and they spend it. And then even though they've stole that $100 trillion, they've still managed to overspend by an additional $39 trillion. Going on 40 here any minute. And there's no indication they're going to stop. No indication they're going to fix it. Why? They've got a blank checkbook, all the checks they can write, and no one is coming down on them. But we're getting to a point in our fiscal situation as a nation, our monetary situation as a nation, the financial situation as a nation. The United States dollar is long overdue for replacement as world reserve currency and to lose its position as dominance among other currencies, because it is not backed by gold. It is not backed by anything real. It is backed by a promise to perform. A promise to perform. Well, what act is the United States government supposed to perform? Well, it's supposed to be the shining city on the hill that is trustworthy, and then the military of the United States of America, in order to secure the petrodollar as the world standard, was supposed to protect the Middle East from terrorism, ensure that cargo, whether it's oil or other goods, can be shipped safely. In other words, the agreement back in the 1970s was make the U.S. military the world police, and for that, everyone would use the dollar, and that would strengthen the dollar and put trust in it, because people trusted American morality, the American military, and the American people to work hard and vote in good politicians, right? Here we are. Over $100 trillion stolen by our government. The Pentagon has laundered trillions of dollars that they can't find anymore. The government has overspent on top of all of that another $40 trillion. And they're now doing the bidding of Israel because our politicians, from state to federal, all the way up to the president himself, are beholden to Israel because they have stolen money from us, and then they use it to bribe our own politicians. So our politicians continue to send billions of dollars a year back to Israel as aid, and then they make that money available to their people through AIPAC and other organizations to donate money, bribe. If someone were to give me $100,000 and said, go vote a certain way, they would call that a bribe. But in Washington, D.C., an Israeli can come into someone's office and give them $1 million and say, we'd like you to vote in favor of things that we like. And that's not bribing. That's called a campaign contribution. Worried? We should all be worried about where this is going. But it goes, and it's going to go to default. Now, Trump has got Kevin Warsh, who's also Israeli, by the way, Israeli dominated, Israeli controlled. I'm not going to play fucking games with this, folks. These people are controlling everything. He is set to be, he's already been confirmed by the Senate. He is set to become the next Federal Reserve chairman. The Federal Reserve being a foreign banking cartel owned by foreign royalty and other corporations. The Federal Reserve is going to be controlled by Kevin Warsh, who's going to lower interest rates in order to make money cheaper to acquire, loans, to try and spur the economy, cause the stock market to go up, But it's counterfeiting money. It's printing. But the government, the federal government, is hoping that with lower interest rates, they can refinance U.S. government debt so we can afford to make the payments on the $40 trillion so they can continue to kick this fucking can down the road. But fiat currencies, that is to say currencies that are not backed by gold, tend to last about 40 to 45 years. And that's exactly what happened in 1971. The United States dollar got off the gold standard because they were printing way more money than they had gold. And we ended up going to the petrodollar system, a fiat currency, meaning they can print all they want. And they do. And they have. And they always will when given the power and authority to do this. What a gold standard does is hold the government to only spending the money it has and is collected in the form of taxation. So they don't want to give up their system. They don't want to give up their fiat printing system, their printing pages, printing presses. If the government cannot make interest payments alone, can you imagine having a loan so big that you hope to make just the interest at the end of every month, knowing you'll never pay down the principal? That's right where we're at right now. So if the government does go into default, if we go into a recession/depression, which has inflation, stagflation, and every other nasty word that you could associate with it, we could end up in a position where we can't even make, regardless of interest level percentages, can't even make the payment. Now, the other thing is the government could default on its debt, tell the Federal Reserve, go fuck yourselves. They could dismantle the Federal Reserve, throw it away, whatever. And guess what? The government can do what it wants. It's a sovereign government. But no one will ever trust the government again. As if they're having trouble with trust right now, aren't they? They're having a lot of trouble with trust right now. So they could default, and then no one's ever going to buy U.S. bonds, U.S. treasuries ever again. Because why would they trust a government that screwed them? That's where we're at. Russia's already said, fuck you. Iran says you're not going to get the Strait of Hormuz back unless you give us or unfreeze the $11 trillion that the United States government has stolen from Iran. Now, I don't know about that claim. I don't know where that came from, but it is a claim and it's out there. And Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is controlling the Gulf, which the United States and its petrodollar system were supposed to always keep free and open. So they've learned over there that the word of the U.S. government is shit, that the dollar is just paper, that the military can't defeat an alleged third-rate, backwards-ass country like Iran. It is not third-rate. It is not backwards-ass. They are not Arabs. They are Persians, albeit some of them are Muslims. But they don't have an Israeli Rothschild banking system there. They don't have that in China. They don't have it in Russia either, or North Korea. So it's kind of easy to see and understand who the enemies of the West are, the countries that aren't controlled by our bankers or the bankers that control us. It's all about thinking. Anyways, Big Dan, thank you, sir. You hit 3 super chats tonight, and it is your show, folks. It is Sunday Night Live. We're 1 hour and 15 minutes into the show, and I got to tell you, it's been a great show so far. I want to thank everyone for coming here. Share the internet address. Friends, family, loved ones, and coworkers. Hell, share it with enemies just to piss them off. I got to tell you. All right. Well, we've got C in the audience. We got Trevor. We got Robin. We've got One Yankee. We got all kinds of people in here. We got Christine, Hillbilly. Woo! You guys have been busy back here talking. All I see are we got Viking. Lots of discussion going on. But here we are with Cottage Farm stepping in with a $5 super chat donation. Thank you, Cottage Farm. Another West Coast Prepared Mind supporter. And she writes, been hearing lots of complaints on artificial intelligence data centers lately. Thank God the people are waking the fuck up. Yeah, thank God, literally. Now, a lot of people don't pay any attention to politics. They don't pay any attention to the news, right? Unless something is in their face affecting them directly, they don't care, give a shit, or want to take the time. My recommendation is, well, it may not be affecting you today, but if it affects you tomorrow, perhaps being aware is a good thing to do, right? Oh, yeah, perhaps. So these AI data centers, it's a lie. They call them data centers, but they're actually surveillance processing centers, surveillance storage centers, surveillance data centers that are using artificial intelligence computers and programs to build a database on you, and of course me, all of us. And they want to find out who we are, where we are, what we think, what we believe, so they can control us and benefit and profit off of us and silence opposition. And never, ever has there been such an egregious violation of our rights and privacy being handed over to private corporations to gather information on us. And they're doing it with computers, email, text messages, phone calls. They're doing it with, well, the flock cameras at stoplights and intersections and drone footage and everything. And the idea is to control us all. They're not data centers. I mean, we're supposed to be worried about the environment, the air, the water, carbon. You know what powers these data centers when there's not a large enough utility in the area? They bring in massive multi-megawatt generators, hundreds of them if need be, to power these systems up. Now, the biggest generator I had at my facility in California was 1.2 megawatts. It was about the size of a small camper. I had another one that was 0.8 megawatts, and then another one that was 0.5 megawatt. I had three. I had over 2 megawatts of power, folks. It took a lot of diesel and it made a lot of smoke and a lot of noise, but that's what they're doing. Now, if the data center can show up and there's enough extra power on the grid in that area, they plug into the grid and they consume it all. How much power does it take to run a computer? Literally, it takes gigawatts of power. What are these processors? What are these computers doing in these things? I tell you what, folks, I think it's a lot more evil than any of us ever imagined. I think these data centers are not just data centers, not just surveillance and storage centers. I also think they're going to become prisons. Prisons. I think they're going to become concentration camps. There are, 3,000 data centers in America, and they're slated over the next 5 years to have another 5,000. These things are not just polluting the air. They are creating toxic waste, which is leaching out of them into the groundwater. They're discharging their toxic waste with the water, the drinking water. Fresh drinking water is being pulled into these systems, these AI data surveillance centers, is being used to cool their computers, and then they're dumping the water back into the ground, into the storm drains, into the sewers, and it's toxic. I thought we're supposed to love the planet and love our environment and not be destructive. They don't care, folks. It was a lie. It was a ruse. It was a tax to try and control us. It failed utterly because it's bullshit. But don't worry, they are fixing the weather, controlling the weather. They're dropping ticks on us, mosquitoes, chemicals. Oh, not to mention the wonderful mold fungus spores they're dumping on us. They're telling us they're going to do. They want us to eat bugs, eat printed meat. They're killing cows, chickens, turkeys, pigs, anything that is good for us. They're making our crops GMO garbage with built-in spike protein. They're fucking killing us. They're coming after all of us. So thank God people are waking up finally, but not until it comes to their hometown and their power bill spikes and their water pressure is too low. And when they get water, it's all slimy and fucked up and full of shit because of the contamination being created. People are waking up. So help other people wake up for this very reason. If they don't wake themselves up and their families and then spread the word, guess what? We're going to lose this thing. We're going to lose our lives. We're going to lose our freedom. We're going to lose our culture. We're going to lose our law and order, the U.S. Constitution, because these rich bastards who borrow money from their giant banks for free charge you 16, 20, 25, 30% for your loans, your credit card. They want to own everything, folks, and they're doing everything they can to get there. Thank you very much, Cottage Farm. Great to see you're out there. And Big Dan is back with another $5 super chat donation. And he says, I have $300K in my portfolio. That's $300,000. I don't recommend people share their personal information, but Big Dan shares his because he wants people to understand and see where we're at. And I appreciate that, even though I don't recommend it. Big Dan says, I have $300,000 in my portfolio. 1/3 stocks and cash and precious metals and the rest. If the market crashes, I will still be covered financially to a point. So for those of you who have a 401k, a private pension, right, some kind of IRA, individual retirement account, your money in Wall Street, you can lose 20%, 50%, 80%, 90% of it if we have a stock market crash. It's the nature of the beast. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. Do you trust the system? Can you trust the system? If the system has a fault or a failure or crashes, do you have enough money and a good job to survive and then hope the economy recovers? You know, a lot of people pull their money out and put it into precious metals, gold, silver, even platinum coins, bars. You can get sovereign coins. You can get privately minted rounds or bars. You can do that. And if you own it, if you hold it in your hand, like that silver round right there, that's 1 ounce of silver, and I hold it. The stock market can crash. The banks can crash. It doesn't take this away from me. Now, right now, silver in Shanghai, China, is almost $100 an ounce. It's selling cheaper in America because they're holding the system down. They're suppressing the value of silver. There's a complete strategic and systematic deficiency in silver mining, and it's being consumed. It's not being stored to death. It's being consumed to death with solar panels, military, missile hardware, electronics, computers. A big one is solar power, enormous solar power, but another big one that's coming online right now. They're already using more silver every year than is produced, meaning stockpiles are disappearing. But the solid state silver battery for EVs, electronic vehicles, or electric vehicles, cars, motorcycles, bicycles, skateboards, kids' toys, anything that has a battery, even your phone has a battery, it's going to get a silver solid state battery. And they last, well, the charge lasts almost twice as long. We'll just call it twice as long. It takes 1/10 of the time to charge it. And there's not enough silver to go around. So when Big Dan says he's going to be covered financially to a point, that's right. Now, look, we've got this 250th national birthday coming up. July 4th, United States of America. The Declaration of Independence was signed 250 years ago. There is a lot of scuttlebutt. There are a lot of promises out there right now that the United States is going to offer a 50-year gold-backed treasury bond or bill or note, however you want to describe it. And if you buy it, right, it's going to be backed by gold, payable in gold in 50 years. People can buy that bond. If the price of gold goes up, well, guess what? You can sell that bond at a profit after 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year. You don't have to wait 50 years for the bond to mature to collect the gold. But the government is now talking again about doing a gold audit out of Fort Knox, Denver, and of course, West Point, the three main areas where United States government gold is held. But it's not in good delivery form, meaning it's not 3/9 pure. They aren't 400-ounce bars, so they're not internationally accepted. But we have that gold, allegedly. They could revalue the gold from its current $40 or $42.22, and they could revalue it up to $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 an ounce, whatever the government wants. They could say that's what gold's worth, and now they have value. They can use the United States gold reserves as collateral to pay off the government debt, to fund 1, 2, 3, 5 years, whatever. It just depends on how much they want to increase the value of it. So there's that floating out there. Covered financially to a point if you've got gold and they revalue it like that. Silver, Bank of America says silver can go as high as $300 by the end of this year. There are massive investment whales out there who have now put, I think, an accumulated $5 billion betting that gold is going to go to $15,000 or $20,000 by the end of this year, December. They bought calls, billions of dollars in calls, billions of dollars in bets. Not that gold will be held, but that gold is going to be turned loose and revalued. Right now, that seems more plausible than it did 5 years ago. Same with silver. Silver, gold going up. They were like, oh, no, that's never going to happen. Well, silver quadrupled last year and dropped back, lost some of it, and it's built the momentum, and it's there again. It's there again. So you can hold stocks and equities, hoping that the stock market will continue to grow. And you can also hedge and protect yourself with precious metals. And lots of rich people are doing that. In fact, I can't remember which major bank, whether it was JP Morgan. I think it was JP Morgan, but it could have been Morgan Stanley. They're now recommending that instead of a 60-40, 60% stocks, 40% bonds holding to protect yourself and increase your value, it's a 60-20-20. So 60% portfolio stocks, 20% bonds, and 20% gold. They're calling for gold to be used and held by regular people. It's a crazy world, folks. I don't know how much more crazy it's going to get, but you can bet your ass it's going to get crazy, and a lot more so by the end of this year. As the petrodollar, the United States dollar, fails internationally, it's not being accepted. Foreign banks, foreign nations, foreign investors are not buying U.S. bonds, T-bills, treasury bills. They're not doing it. So who's buying? Who's funding our government? Well, that would be the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is buying our bonds. Japan has been doing that since the 1990s, and it has utterly destroyed their financial system, their economic system, their monetary system. And now they're trying to get out of it, out of being buried under the U.S. dollar. Folks, it is Sunday Night Live. Tomorrow's going to get absolutely nuts. I guarantee it. By nuts, I mean nuts. It's going to be a shit show. It truly is. It's going to be a shit show. And I'm trying to keep an eye on I just covered precious metals. Yeah, the silver was up $1 and it just dropped back down. So they're playing their games, folks. The computers are off, but the computers are on. They're playing their games. What do you want to talk about? It's your show. Super chat button's right up there, right up here, right up here. Hit that. We'll get you on the screen the way Big Dan has been on the screen, and Nikki, and everyone else that wants to support the channel. And I want to thank everyone for doing just that. Now we have SHTF on every level, folks. at the national and international level, at the state level, and at the little level where we all live, right? And they're trying to keep us scared at every level. At the international level, they want to control us with pandemic. So guess what? They're now saying that 80 deaths were reported in one day in the Congo due to Ebola. Now, at one time, I was really afraid of Ebola and other diseases. Not so much anymore. But 80 deaths reported in one day. So I guess the hantavirus, which we're supposed to be afraid of, and we're not, is not what they say. And then the novovirus, new virus, that hasn't gotten any traction. So now they're using an Ebola pandemic to scare the hell out of us. Well, there's hundreds of cases and 80 deaths in one day. Well, it's Africa, and they've had trouble there for years and years and years with Ebola, basic health, HIV, AIDS, rape, murder, everything else. It's Africa. It is not a good place to be at all, as far as I'm concerned. The only country that was really advanced in Southern Africa, South Africa was the name of the country, got completely screwed over. And well, also Rhodesia/Zimbabwe. They were settled by European settlers or colonists, if you want to get nasty. And they built beautiful cities, beautiful infrastructure, farming, manufacturing, mining, and now there's shitholes. Anyways, folks, back to using pandemics to control us on an international level. The evil elite, that would be the World Economic Forum. Yes, the World Economic Forum, a.k.a. Bilderberg, a.k.a. the Illuminati, the bankers, the politicians, big media. This evil elite won't give up until they themselves have been killed or we have been culled. 90% of the world population, culled. They want to kill and leave no more than 500 million human beings on the planet. They're afraid of us. One moment. Well, thank you there, Terry Edson. Appreciate that. Okay. Until either they're killed, the elites. That's why they're so afraid of us. They're afraid of us. They make these governments pretend to protect us, but they, the evil elite, own the government. So just ask Trump and Kash Patel and Dan Bongina, right? They were going to release the Epstein files, the client files, but as soon as they got power, they decided to say no. Pam, the bimbo Bondi, said no. Nope, not coming out, right? So that tells us, folks, that they don't serve us, the people. They do what their bosses tell them, and their bosses are the super elite. Super elite. They own the governments, they own the countries, they own everything. And they want to kill us. And they're afraid of us because they know we could kill them. The club, if you will. The elite. There's only a few million of them compared to the other 8 billion free human beings in this country. All right, let's continue. We got a new super chat and super chat buttons right up here. But pow, I'm going to get you right down here. Big Dan the man with another $5 super chat donation. He says, hey, he has a massive collection of copper, lead, and brass in 5 different diameters for the worst case scenario and some good sided in pew-pews. So, I say you need food, you need water. Right? That's critical. Without that, you're going to die in just a few days. You need, proper clothing and a good shelter or a bunker or a bug out location. But then you also need medicine. Then I say you need self-defense. Self-defense consists of guns, pistols, rifles, shotguns, and ammunition. And the basic metals that compose them are, copper, lead, and brass, just like Dan Erickson's talked about here. You combine that with the cold blue steel of your gun, and you have self-defense. In the event that your area goes Mad Max, it doesn't matter what stocks you have in Wall Street. It doesn't matter how much gold or silver you have stored in a bullion depository. What matters is what precious metals do you have in your home or location or bunker. The precious metals that you keep on you at all times is copper, lead, and brass. They are precious metals because bullets, ammunition, guns are going to save your life when things get nasty, nasty, nasty. I recommend strongly that you purchase some sort of protection for yourself and family, that you get the necessary training if you're not very familiar with it. Learn how to handle the gun competently, fire it safely, and hit what you're aiming at. Because if things get 2020-ish again, we're going to have nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. Because that's what the bad guys want. They want trouble for me, trouble for you. Trouble for all of us. That's what they want. Anyways, thank you, Big Dan. Let us do this. Let's now switch over. We got Mikey G checking in with a 556 super chat donation. 556, one of my favorite numbers of all time. And he says, end all foreign aid till the debt is paid off. And then we can talk foreign aid. See, this type of thinking right here by Big Mikey, it makes sense, does it not? Look, if I, John, have debt, I need to pay off that debt and take care of John, my family, etc., before I can start giving money to charity. Right? Does it make sense for you as a free person to take all of your money and give it away to others before you pay your own bills, before you secure your own future? Well, that's what our own government, the United States government, and our state governments and our local governments have done, is they keep taking our money in the form of taxation. Income tax, it's illegal. State tax, gas tax, property tax, sales tax, name your tax, bridge tax, road tax. Everything's a fucking tax. Social Security, Medicaid, disability, all of these taxes, unemployment, it's a tax. It's not getting paid off, but they're just giving our money away anyways. So the question is, why don't we go to a situation that makes the most sense logically? Is the rest of the world? Sorry. You need to take a breather. We need to fix our own house. The rich don't want that. They start wars like it's a fucking body function. Look what we've got going. The Middle East, our oil supply, energy for the whole world is being threatened. Absolutely threatened. They don't care. They're going to keep doing it. They'll put us in wars. They'll steal our money. They don't care. They'll destroy countries. And in fact, a lot of these Israeli big shots say that that's their exact goal. Even Bibi Netanyahu himself says he's going to turn America into a welfare state that they have sucked dry, literally sucked our nation dry. That's what they want to do. All right, Big Mikey, thank you much. Lots more to talk about. Super chat button right up there. Your show, Sunday Night Live. What do you want to talk about? Now, let's do this. How about the acting attorney general? You've heard of this guy, Toodles Blanche, or Todd Blanche. He says everything is about to be made public. Not the Epstein files. Sorry, wasn't teasing you. But that's exactly what he said. They're going to make public the DOJ, the Department of Justice, the Russiagate conspiracy from way back in 2016. They're telling us, yeah, hold your breath. Don't hold your breath, folks, for anything, much less the Epstein documents. In fact, Todd Blanche, before he became the acting attorney general, told us, you aren't getting anything from the Epstein files. Those files are closed. You don't get to see shit. You don't get to know who the people are. Don't worry, they released pictures and names of the victims, but they protected all of the rapists, all of the murderers, all of the blood drinking, all of the cannibals. They protected them. That's our government. The United States government, European governments, they're protecting him. That's our own government, the acting attorney general. Do you feel safe? Do you feel like this is your country? Very quickly, Barry Kelly writes, if the DOJ holds information that makes them co-conspirators, that is absolutely correct. They are now accessories to the crime after the fact because they're put in a position to do something about it. They have the authority and they have the data, the information, the evidence of the crime, which they should prosecute according to the oath they took, the oath to preserve and protect and defend the U.S. Constitution and the people of this country, and they've failed. But they see the crime and they're covering up the crime. You cover up a crime, you are a party to that crime. That's the world that we live in. And our own president, Trump, and I've said all along, he does good, I will commend him. He does bad, I'm gonna criticize. Trump is threatening now. He's already backing a primary candidate against Thomas Massie, who votes the most pro-USA, America First of every congressman. But Trump has joined a coalition of contributors who have given over $10 million for one seat of Congress, trying to defeat Thomas Massie, and I don't think they're going to get it. Guess where that money came from? Over $10 million. From Israelis, from American Jews. American Zionist Jews are joining Trump and trying to get rid of Thomas Massie, who forced the release of what Epstein files we have now, who's done many good things, crazy business. Now, Trump is threatening to campaign against Representative Lauren Boebert because she supports Thomas Massie. Can you believe that shit? Oh, Soft Kitty checked in with one Yankee and lots of other good names. It's great to see you all here, folks. It is your show. And anyways, yep. So Trump doesn't want Lauren Boebert. Trump doesn't want, we already got rid of Marge Taylor Greene. Already got rid of her, but he doesn't want Thomas Massie, right? So Trump is also, well, a lot of people say he's one of the elites, and his name is all over the so far released Epstein files, right? He calls, get this, he calls Lauren Boebert a carpetbagger. This is coming from the man who is protecting child murdering, child eating pedophiles. And I won't forget that Trump is in the Epstein files and that the Epstein clients are still out there. They're alive, folks. They're still killing and they're still raping children. They haven't been brought to justice. If you think they've stopped, you might be a little naive because they're protected. Epstein's Island wasn't the only island. Zorro Ranch isn't the only ranch where these children have been taken and experimented on medically, hunted, eaten, bred for producing non-birth certificate humans that they can sell and use and consume for their sick, satanic lives. That's the world we live in, folks. Those are the people in charge. I don't have to be the only one that says that. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. All right, what do we got here? Okay. Now, I've spent some time talking about the Middle East. And we've got 15 minutes left in the show, so if you've got something to say, super chat button right up there, I'll get you on the screen. Now, World War III in the Middle East, in the Persian Gulf. World War III in the Ukraine just turned up a big notch. Again, one more time, Ukraine has decided it is going to unleash a massive barrage of drone bombs deep into Russia, trying to get to Moscow, trying to fuck up the Russians. Putin needs to end this crap fast. I think a few well-placed missiles, hypersonic missiles, would end up saving not just Russian lives, but Ukraine lives. The people of Ukraine are being forced into this war to go fight against a superior military machine. Russia is now operating on a war economy. It is making a killing selling oil, gas, fuel, energy to Europe. Europe is trying to fight him. At the same time, they're providing him with the income he needs, Putin and Russia, to fund their war machine, to fight this war, to destroy and expose the evil fascist Nazis of Ukraine. All right. Terry Edson says, you have come a long way, John, a truth speaker who can gab. Thank you very much, Terry. Appreciate that. I've been here since December of 2013, folks, telling people to get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Back then, I was living in my palatial ranch. I was married, kids in the house, and all that changed. Long story. Lived in a fifth wheel for 5 years. After that, went to the RMZ and then decided it was time to come back to America, the continent. And I moved to Florida here. And, I've been fighting this fight. I've known since the 90s that the Talmudic Jews are not the good people. They're not the good guys. And I've had to wait for the world to wake up before I could even talk about it a little bit. Northern Hillbilly is saying that Putin is Chabad Lubavitch. I don't know if that's true. I've heard the accusation that Putin is Chabad Lubavitch, meaning that's the highest Israeli Jewish church that operates under the teachings of the Talmud. Except Russia, Putin, is not allowing in any banks that are owned and controlled by Chabad Lubavitch through their network of control systems. So it's hard for me to believe that he is. He also, Putin was, when he was younger, he was one of the young World Economic Forum members. He was brought in. They spent a bunch of time with him. He learned who they are. He went back and said, I'm not part of the World Economic Forum. Russia is Russia. You can be a Muslim in Russia. Fine. You can be a Jew in Russia. Fine. But Russia is a Christian nation above and beyond all other religions. Yet they allow the other religions to practice, provided they don't become, fucking terrorists. It's a mess. I don't personally believe that he is a member of Chabad Lubavitch. Otherwise, he would allow the Western banking cartels to come into Russia, control their finance, control their stock market, control their banking, control the money printing, so that the banks, could profit off of Russia's vast mineral resources. So that's why I don't tend to agree with the idea that he's Chabad or that he's part of the big game. It's a hell of a game. Nikki writes this, Russia is not bought and paid for by Israel. That was the succinct version of what I just tried explaining. Anyways, we got World War III heating up once again in Ukraine because, they're not going to give up their push for world domination. Collins Gang says, we love you, John. Thank you very much, Collins Gang. I love America. I love freedom and liberty. I love everyone who treats, well, animals well, their parents well, their children well, their coworkers, everyone else, right? I live by the golden rule as a Christian. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Everything else is up to you and here, right? You know if you're a good person or not. You know what your sins are, right? And supporting a country that murders hundreds of thousands of people, claiming they own the land that was promised to them by God thousands of years ago, I'm not buying it. Those aren't good people. They're just not. Now, check this out. Rooster Cogburn, haven't called this guy's name in a long time, several months. He does a $5 super chat donation. Thank you for supporting this channel with that. And he says, I'd like to bring up having a good mountain bike with a gun rack for SHTF to travel short distances without gas could come in handy. I very much agree, depending on where you live. Where you live. If you live in, say, a rural area, a country, in an agricultural zone, if shit hits the fan nasty, people may be able to walk or bicycle from wherever you live to a farm or a market where local food growers are selling eggs or chickens or pork or beef or vegetables or fruits. It doesn't matter, right? A bike with a gun rack and a basket might be a good idea. If you live in a high density, high population area, having a good mountain bike is going to invite people to steal it from you. Unless you develop a strong community where people don't put up with any shit. Oh boy. Anyways, I want to thank you, Rooster. It's been a while. Glad to see you are back. And I want to thank everybody for the scotch you bought me today. 18-year Glenfiddich. Absolutely delicious scotch. Once again, when I say you need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, all those things, right? Your plan. What I'm going to tell you is, yes, you need that, but alcohol also goes on there. Whether it's vodka or tequila or bourbon or Scotch whiskey or Irish whiskey or wine, whatever you've got, right, it's very useful. Now, vodka is probably the best disinfectant because it's very clear. There's not a lot in it, but it can act as a disinfectant for cuts and wounds. It is it's a stimulant. It can also be a relaxant, a painkiller, right? Alcohol is good for a lot of things, not to mention making friends. Okay, well, Rooster, I'm glad you're good. Hopefully things turn around for you. A lot of people are hurting in this economy now. A lot of people are hurting bad. So do everything you can to get ready, get prepared. For those of you that have a couple extra dollars here and there and you've been supporting the channel, thank you so much. We have a lot of premium subscribers at subscribestar.com, which is another place you can go to watch our videos. Subscribestar.com. Thepreparedmind.club also. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the places. And they're trying to stop us. They're trying to shut us down. They're trying to kill us. So don't let them do that. Learn, prepare, wake people up, get prepared. Now, right at the end of the show, almost right on cue, Chelsea and husband did a $50 Venmo super chat donation, which means, hey, I get a shot from you, Chelsea, and husband, of course. Always also another great supporter. You guys and your stuff. Thank you, Chelsea and husband, very much for the great support. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. Not Sunday, not any other night of the week. because I would be so dang busy with another job. 3 jobs is too many. It's just too many for anyone to have to deal with, even though I know someone that at one point had 5 different part-time jobs. You imagine juggling that? Robin, thank you. And Chelsea and husband, thank you. Woo! That is really good. And so having alcohol is ideal. Alcohol solves a lot of problems. Before all these drugs, alcohol was a painkiller. It was an antidepressant. It was a depressant to help slow you down and make you relax, fall asleep. It was a sleep aid. Alcohol was an antiseptic. It was a cleaner. It was used in barter and trade. Barter and trade also. That just hits the spot every dang time. I've been looking. I'm looking for Chelsea to see if she's going to put something up there. Anyways, thank you, Chelsea, very much. We got a couple more little things to look at. In Austin, Texas. Here we go. Chelsea says, cheers, Prepared Mind family, PMF. Kick-ass show as always. Thank you, Chelsea and husband. Topic of my choice. Let's do this. Austin police. When it comes down to it, if shit hits the fan really bad, gets nasty, power out, fuel problems, food problems, and all those things are coming, here's you, 10-mile radius around you. That becomes your world. You can communicate in that world with walkie-talkies, CBs, shortwave radio, ham. You can listen to what's going on in the world with world band radio, get communications gear, but self-preservation. In Austin, the police have ordered residents to shelter in place amid reports of multiple shootings. Not one, not two, but multiple shootings. They have had up to 10 different attacks. 4 people have been injured. 2 suspects are at large. Interesting, huh? Remember when those 2 brothers on April 15th supposedly set off pressure cooker bombs? What a bunch of shit that was, right? What a bunch of shit that was. And there was a manhunt, and they locked down Boston, Watertown area. And the police patrolled the streets, and they told people you have to stay inside. It was completely illegal, completely unconstitutional, the whole fucking thing. It was a joke. But now the Austin police are going to lock down, shelter in place because of attacks. 10 attacks, 4 injured, 2 suspects. They're not very good attackers, are they? We are getting very close, folks, to the streets erupting into violence against those who we know are responsible for allowing all of this shit to happen and promoting it and encouraging it. And I'm not talking about regular street people like you and me. I'm talking about the illegos and the ghetto slime. They're doing this crap. The politicians who allow it, who promote it, who fund it, the judges who let these scumbags out of jail, they know who they are. You know who you are. And if I was in Austin, Texas, I would be ready to defend myself, my family, and my neighbors. All you've got to do is carry your weapon. Right? And I'm not telling you to do anything illegal or outrageous, right? But in Texas, I don't know what the gun laws are. In Florida, I have a concealed weapons permit, as well as, well, you don't need a permit anymore. But I can carry all manner of crazy stuff concealed, folks. It's more than just guns. It's just crazy. When you read the permit in Florida, it's pretty fucking crazy. Anyways, carry a sidearm. Carry a pistol so that if you run into one of these crazy bastards who during SHTF is going to try and destroy your world, you need to put down the rabid animals and understand who allowed them. Remember, Kamala Harris, what did she do? She encouraged people to continue to commit acts of violence during 2020's riots. Rioting is a fucking felony. I would think that encouraging rioters and promoting it is accessory to the crime coming from the vice presidential nominee that fucking year. Unbelievable. And what was the rioting? What was there? Murdering, burning buildings, burning businesses, burning homes, looting businesses, looting people's homes, rape, etc. And they were pushing for it. So when I say judges who let these criminals out, district attorneys who let them out, politicians who encouraged it, encouraged the illegal aliens, encouraged ghetto scum to commit all these crimes. That's the SHTF. That is the Mad Max that could come to you. So please be prepared. We're done. Thank you, Chelsea, with Super Chats. I'm going to check real quick here, make sure we're done. All good. Because anyone does a Super Chat, guess what? I will get you on the screen. Because, well, it's important. We've had a good show, good turnout, folks. But it is time. You must share the internet address so other people can come and witness it, see it, understand it, learn. Because you need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, self-defense, and a plan. If you do not own preps, if you do not mentally prepare, you're not going to be ready when things get nasty. And I don't want people to be victimized. I'm going to go with Courageous Cats. Goodbye for the weekend. Have a nice week, all. Folks, I pray that everyone has a nice week. But I think it's going to get nasty. It always gets nasty when the president doesn't get his way, and he did not get his way in China during his meeting with Xi Jinping. God bless America and the free world. That means all the countries, all the people. Semper Fi, and I'll see you guys all week long. Thank you for the great support. Thank you for signing up at Subscribestar and thepreparedmind.club. Thank you for supporting each other and playing the game. That is to say, educating one another nicely. It's not easy. And looking at what the world is really about, looking at what the world is already about, it's very scary. All right, we got Corey, the widow's son, Collins Gang, Soft Kitty, Tom. We got everyone here. What a great show. Semper Fi. I'll be back tomorrow.